Shalom, giving all honor, all praise, and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rachakwadash. The wonders to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations unto the tabernacle of David, the hopeful elect, scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. The Lord said he would have healed Babylon, but she ain't healed. He said to take balm for her pain. But we know that the travail, the contractions, is only going to continue to increase. So it's going to be very uneasy from here on out for a lot of these people, especially here in Babylon the Great. So you got a lot of people that are starting to feel it. Inflation is kicking everybody in the ass, pretty much. The cost of everything around us is skyrocketing. And, thanks to your president, the president before him, and the president before him, all these different initiatives and objectives that cost billions and trillions of dollars, it's pretty much put Babylon, deeper and deeper into that hole. And it's the citizens that's paying the price. All right, because the super rich, they care nothing about the poor, and you pretty much are bearers of that debt. So the monetary system that we currently use, which is in fiat currency, it's waning. It's scant, which the Bible speaks about scant measures. And the more debt that increases, the less power your spending actually have. And that's what a lot of these people that's not familiar with how economics work, they don't understand that the more you devalue your currency by spending and printing, the less value it actually has. And especially with the de-dollarization of the world right now, where many countries that once traded in US dollars are now, they're dumping their treasuries and they're trading in other currencies. And we know that the ultimate model is for everything to go digital. So they're adopting digital payment systems, pilot programs, crypto, blockchain currency. So it's gonna get crazy. We're here, but we're only in the beginning. So I want to play this some of this video, and this is fair use, by the way. But I think she makes good videos, just describing the conditions and what people are facing on an economic front. And it's getting bad, man. And as the prophecy said, many great miseries shall be done to them in the latter days that walked in great pride. All right, because you walked in great pride, so you're gonna suffer these crises going into the time of Jacob's trouble. All right. And now us, in this truth of ours, we have comfort because we have the Holy Scriptures. All right. We understand that the Lord's going to bring us through the fire, so to speak. All right. These other people, they don't have comfort. And that's the reason why they're going to bug the hell out. That's the reason why these people are on edge. Let me get this in Ecclesiastes 4. Ecclesiastes 4:1, it says, "So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun. And behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power." I.e., the super rich elite. All right, these international bankers. They got their little puppets that's doing their dirty work for them. All right, so they're spreading themselves as that green bay tree, like it says in Psalms. Was it the 37th chapter? So they're spreading themselves in power, but at your expense, because it says that he ladeth himself with thick clay, meaning he makes himself rich with debt, and everybody pretty much are slaves to the international bankers because you are bearers of that debt. So you right now there's no comforter because a lot of people they're becoming more demoralized. A lot of the Lord said that faith will be bearing in these last days. All right, so faith will be at an all-time low. People will not believe anymore. It will be a lot of pessimism going on. And that's because they have no comforter. We're the main ones that have comfort, and that's why we will have stability. Let's get Isaiah 33:6. And it says, "And wisdom and knowledge of the Holy Bible shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure." And stability means faith. And this is the Hebrew word amawana. And it says literally firmness, figuratively security, morally fidelity, faith. Okay. Firmness, fidelity, steadfastness, steadiness. All right. So no matter what conditions we have to face, we have to remain steadfast. Hebrews 3. In verse 12, it says, "Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief," which some people's faith will be shaken in these last days because of all these different troubles. They're going to start to feel like there ain't no God. Where is he? They're going to be trying to pray to Jesus and they're going to get no answer. All right, because they don't have that rooted foundation in Yahushai. All right, Jesus, he's a made up character. Yahushai is the real Messiah. And it's going to take, you arming your mind, in Yahushai to get through what we're getting ready to face. And this world is getting ready to face it, man. Everybody's finna take a huge L. So transitioning into these times, and make sure that you don't have a growing doubtful spirit. Protect your spirit, protect your faith. All right, no matter how despairing it can get. It says, "In departing from the living power," it says, "But exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. For we are made partakers of the anointed if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end. Well, it is said today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts as in the provocation." And we saw what happened in the wilderness. When Jake wandered around in that wilderness, they thought that the Lord brought them out of there, out of Egypt, just to kill them. Because they wanted to feel comfortable. They want their bellies filled all the damn time. And they kept bugging Moses. So just as, there was a growing spirit of doubt, disbelief, faithlessness back then, is going to be multiplied in this day and time with all the calamity, the anguish, these birth pains that are increasing. And right now it's starting economically. So let's get into it. And I'm gonna just play the clip.
You know how when we were growing up, the idea of living in a third world country seemed so far off. It seemed like something you would watch in a documentary or something that you'd read about. Now it just feels closer than ever because you go out into the cities and you see streets lined with tents. You see more and more people living in cars. You see people that can't afford food anymore.
This is what our shitty ass healthcare has come to, where my patients need medicine and supplies and their insurance won't cover it, and here I am spending my own money because my patient needs it, and he doesn't have any money and he can't work. And the insurance won't even cover what he needs. And I'm sad and I'm sick and tired of it.
I'm about to be homeless in like 2 days. I don't want your pity or I don't want you to feel bad for me. But what I would like is for anyone to know what it's like to live in.
And the main groaning and crying is from these women, because it was these women who had it very easy. They had it comfortable here. And now that comfort is starting to dissipate and everything is starting to shift, you're going to hear most of the crying and the complaining from these women, which we've been saying, we've been warning all along. All right, which goes back to the prophecy, of course, rise up, you women that are at ease. You know, we've been saying that. I did a lesson yesterday, how by 2030, they saying how women are going to be up to 45% of women are going to be single. All right. And then and that's only going to shift things because the leverage is going to be back in the men's court. And you ain't gonna be able to be picky and choosy and have all these ridiculous list of standards for a man to meet, because a man is going to be, you know, he's going to be valued in that time. You're going to be desperately looking for security and comfort. But anyway, let me get that in Isaiah, because it's mainly the women that you're hearing. You know, after all that boasting about being the most educated, having all these degrees, having these good paying jobs, and now a lot of y'all are getting cut. You're getting laid off and you're getting cut. So it don't hit the same anymore. Now you fussing. Isaiah 32:9, it says, rise up, you women that are at ease, hear my voice, you careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. So this is where we at. Let's go.
Your car and maybe some essentials that I can pick up that's going to be super helpful. I already have like a little porta potty situation, but I'm thinking of like, you know, I don't know, maybe some electrical things that I'll need for like charging stuff. I mean, I have car chargers, but like I really don't want to have my car like on the whole time while I'm doing it. I think my car charges while it's off. Any essentials that you think I might need, anything that will be helpful, even any places that I can go and like park to be safe. I am in California, so if you know the area, specifically Bay Area, that would be helpful. I'm gonna get a gym membership so I can shower and all that stuff. Any places not to go, any don'ts that you can offer, let me know. But I'm a woman, so I just want to feel safe. I want to feel comfortable. Obviously, I'm outside, so, but like, and I was already thinking about getting some like window covers so that way people can't see in at night. But yeah, I'm in California. If you have any tips, please leave them in the comments.
I'm an American.
Oh, if you in California, it's bad. It is bad. Yeah, the price of everything is just ridiculous out there. You know, so if you ain't had nothing saved up, or you ain't living with multiple people that are all earning an income, you probably gonna end up homeless like all those others out there. It's getting bad, man. But hey, at one point, this place was, hey, I said as a queen, I am no widow. I shall not know the loss of children. I shall not suffer widowhood. You know, that proud attitude, man. Babylon. And now look where she's heading. That pride is being brought low. And we warned, man, we in the beginning of the fall of this wicked place, man. Jeremiah 28:8, the prophets that have been before me, before thee of old, both prophesy against many countries and great kingdoms, of war, of evil, and of pestilence. All right. And this place is doomed to go down. Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down. So it's gonna get violent, but right now it's imploding from within. All right.
I pay $1,600 for a flat that has no bedroom. That's 2/3 of my income. I'm an American. I work 50 hours a week. I don't have health insurance. I'm an American. I couldn't afford to have a child even if I wanted to. I'm $7,000 in debt. I'm an American. My health is declining because I can't afford Whole Foods because that's too expensive for my life. I am very overqualified for my job, but no one else is hiring. I'm an American. I make my boss hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, while I can barely keep myself alive. I'm an American. I have never been out of the States. I have never been on a vacation. I'm an American. I make 20-some dollars an hour. A livable wage here is like 30-some. Yet I don't qualify for government assistance whatsoever. On the days I don't work, I'm so tired I just sleep all day. I'm an American. My electric bill is so expensive I sit outside in the heat because I can't afford to turn the AC on in the damn house. I'm an American, and I fear I'm just an average American. I'm living the American dream.
And it's dead now. You've been bamboozled. You've been deceived. Yeah, man. It's everything is changing. All right, and the Lord said that He would take away the mirth. The Lord He's taking away that mirth, man. Isaiah 24. That's because you're dealing with these labor pains. It's not feeling too good. Isaiah 24. Yeah, Isaiah 24 and 7, it says, the new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. Is what you seeing happening. And it says in Proverbs, when the righteous is on authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And that's all you seeing is the people they're mourning. Starting with these women, because women love comfort, and the comfort is starting to disappear. You know, can't afford the lifestyle that they were used to. And inflation kicking everybody in their ass, man. So if you living on your own, it's not going to cut it. It says, the mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. All right. And there's still, entertainment. There's still, people that are able to do certain things. But at this point, if it depends on what tax bracket or the type of money, that you're able to make. And a majority of Americans, they ain't got it like that. So it's not good. That's why depression. Just look at the statistical data on the depressed, people that are on drugs, antidepressants, starting to increase a lot more. That shows you everything you need to know. People are not happy in Babylon, despite being considered the richest and greatest country on earth. All right. Hey, they're hoping that everything be restored and go back to its glory days, but that's long gone. Okay. It's the time and place for everything under the sun. And right now it is it's not good. It says verse 9 again, it says, they shall not drink wine with a strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Because at the end of the day, once you sober up, you're going to be brought back to reality, and you're going to see that nothing changes. It's only getting worse. People get on these drugs to try to escape it, and you usually either when you return back to soberness, it just gets worse, or you just continue to repeat the process to try to stay out of reality. And usually when it gets to that point, when it's that bad, you usually don't return back to your sanity. You pretty much are gone at that point. And that's a lot of these people you see out here on these streets that Trump is starting to gather now. He wants all of them off the street. So, yeah, beginning of sorrow, this is what it looks like. It says, the city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. And it's going to get to that point. When people start getting really desperate because they ain't got nothing, more homelessness. So people going to be, they're going to be scouting out. They're going to be, going into these neighborhoods and seeing what they can find. Even more burglaries, breaking into people's homes to see what they can find. So you're going to have to basically, shut your house up, lock everything, the windows, probably even have to board it up. That's when it gets real bad. 2nd Ezra 15, verses 17 on down, when that start to happen. All right, it says, there is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. And there's this video that Jason A just put up not too long ago, where you got a lot of people that are expressing how things that they feel like a change, a shift has happened since COVID. That things just don't feel the same. It don't hit the same. They feel is something in the air. Something is completely different. Yeah, we're entering into a different age. We're at the end of Esau's age. All right, and we're in the midst of a transition. So these are the effects of the fall of a people that are in power. That's what you're witnessing. That's what you're experiencing. Okay. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob's the beginning of it that follows. So let me go back to the video.
Fairly wealthy in this country, I don't think have ever experienced being at a counter at the grocery store trying to figure out, can the $40 I have left in my checking account until Friday get me this gallon of milk for my kid, fill my gas tank to get to work, and give my kid lunch money, because you don't want them to feel the pain, and
feel the pain. So so I don't know if she realized it, but she's basically admitting that, hey, these people are experiencing those pains, man. Romans 8:22, it says, for we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. That's what we're seeing. Isaiah 13:8, it says, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. and they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed at one another, their faces shall be as flames. And we get the one in Second Esdras, we'll talk about those plagues. The Second Esdras 16. Y'all start at 17. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings is what we're seeing. The beginning of famine and great death. The beginning of wars. And the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? And I know that a lot of these proud ass people, because evil never came their way, they never thought that these third world conditions would come to Babylon. You know, the land of so-called opportunity. You know, you can make a lot of money. You can live the American dream. You know, they never thought that it would come their way. Look down on these other third world conditioned countries. You know, wonder why people were running here, coming this way. And now you get to experience it right here. Them people in other countries, they're used to that. You were never used to it. This is a first world country. This is the land of unwalled villages, man, where you just you have no care. You literally had no care. Jeremiah 31 and was it 40? Not 31. Yeah, Jeremiah 49 and 31, it says, arise, get you up into the wealthy nation that dwelleth without care. You know, you just got all that security, all that comfortability. Like it says in Isaiah 47, thou that dwellest in pleasure and is careless. You ain't, so now that dynamic is changing, now you're hearing the groaning, the sighing, the mourning. It says, saith the Lord, which have neither gates nor bars, which dwell alone. Yeah, just you know, you're surrounded by bodies of water. So we're going back, and let's finish off. It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish. And right now, financially, people are facing it, so they're in anguish. This is tribulation, which another word for tribulation is troubles. They're having financial troubles in a dying economy, where the government is spending everything, and all the money that they're printing out, they're using it towards the benefit of the international bankers and benefiting people that live overseas. is not being generated to help you. All right, the hell with your student loan debt. The hell with your lunch programs at the schools for your children. The hell with your health care. The hell with your homelessness. The hell with your agriculture. We value war. All right, we want a AI transformation. We want to rather spend on a global technocracy, or AI will be in control. We want to put more money into weaponry, So that's where the priorities lie within the rulers. So now you're in trouble. All right. It says are sent as scourges for amendment. And primarily, we're calling out to our people to repent, turn back to the Lord, repent from their sins, but they just don't get it. They still continuing in their wickedness. They're speaking out against the Most High and his servants when they don't realize the Most High is using us to warn them, and we're just being reviled for what we do. So they don't really see these things as scourges. It's just things that are just, suddenly happening. Well, the scriptures tell us, Paul said it to the church of Thessalonica. He said, I have no need to write unto you, for you already know. You surely know the times that we're in. In 1 Thessalonians 5 and 1, it says, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. Because like it says in Ecclesiastes, it talks about how the wise, they understand time and judgment. And that's what a lot of these people, they don't know. So that's why it's like they're in the dark. They can't figure it out. Ecclesiastes 5 and it's like Ecclesiastes 8 and 5, whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing, and a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. We know what times that we're in. We're coming into the evil day. So that's why none of this is catching us by surprise. We already knew. We anticipated. It says, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. And that's why things are shifting. That's why the days feel different. That's why time is speeding up. Because the Lord he's getting ready to come. You just don't know exactly when. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Nobody's escaping. Everybody's finna be brought into this trial period, or this day of tribulation. So let's listen to a little more of this, and we'll close.
The gallon of milk and the bread and the deli meat. Can it do all of that? Because the $40 really.
Hold on, let me go back. Because they talking about how much money they make, but only how much they can afford right now.
I don't think I've ever experienced being at a counter at the grocery store trying to figure out, can the $40 I have left in my checking account until Friday get me this gallon of milk for my kid, fill my gas tank to get to work, and give my kid lunch money, because you don't want them to feel the pain, and get the gallon of milk and the bread and the deli meat. Can it do all of that? Because the $40 really can't. And you as the parent know that. And yet, a lot of these people...
Yep. Because you're dealing with what? You're dealing with inflation, which is affecting your economy. And like I said, this is all part of the plagues. All right. Hey, that dollar drying up, that's a plague, man. Because is you're dealing with scant measure. All right, unjust balance of deceitful weights. So it's starting to consume just like ancient Rome. All right, all that overspending from the government, that denarius, it had to decrease in value, where they had to mix other metals into it, and it wasn't worth. It didn't have the same purchasing power. So to keep the people from rioting because of the decisions of the government, they had to keep you distracted with bread and circus, entertainment. People hype for this Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez fight. I really don't care for it. I'm pretty sure I might tune in and see it, but I'm not excited about that. We already know what's happening. After that fight goes off, it's back to reality. Well, they just made hundreds of millions off of this spectacle, and you hurting. So let me jump down. Actually, I'll read verse 20 and 21, but I want to jump down real quick. It says, but for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. It's going to turn into a tumult. It's going to be a lot of, uprisings. It says, let me jump down now. And this is this is pretty much instructions to basically us that are believers. This actually prepares us of with mentality to have when we get ready to face these times as well. It says, verse 39. Let me start at 37. This is the point that I want to actually bring out. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son. With 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. So you start to, you feel it. And the closer that child get to, coming out the womb, the worse the pain gets. All right. And the contractions, they get closer and closer in time. They start spread out, with a certain durability of time. But as you get closer, they start to go back to back, consecutive. And it's painful. So that's what these people are going to are starting to experience on a low level right now. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. All right. And it says to us, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle. And in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. And you're going to have the mentality that all the things that you have tangibly, you got to be willing to walk away from it if you need to. Don't be attached to any of these things here. Okay. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that have no profit, buy it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth as if he shall not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. And therefore they that labor in vain. So if you got them wicked Israelites that think that they're going to build here in Babylon, they're going to try to get cozy and comfortable. They're here for the long haul. They're the ones that's going to get caught up in this. All right. They're going to get caught up in it. And you're going to see that their faith was not what they thought it was made of. Because the Lord going to take all that away from them, especially the sellouts, just so that they could live comfortably in Babylon. You niggas going back into the world, jumping on these podcasts, and like it's going to be bad, man. So that's pretty much that. So let me go back to finish this video out, and we'll close.
Think you're lazy. Well, just work harder. And these people are already maxed out. They already have a master's degree. They have more education than those other people who say, well, just work harder.
Y'all, I just saw something.
So that woman, she only had $40, and she don't know what to do. All right, and the $40 these days, it don't have the same power it used to, so you won't be able to stretch it. All right, and that's what you call inflation. You go to Revelation 6, and I'm gonna actually read it in the NLT. It's Revelation 6. And I'm gonna start at verse 5. It says, "When the Lamb broke the third seal, I heard the third living being saying, 'Come.' And I looked up, and I saw a black horse, and his rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice from among the four living beings say, 'A loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. And don't waste the olive oil and wine.'" Sheesh. If that don't sound like inflation, hell, hyperinflation, then I don't know what is. But what is it is describing? What you make in a day, based on the purchasing power of the currency that you're being paid in, you can only afford a loaf of wheat bread. And this is, talking in this, in a sense of the denarius, which was the currency of the Roman Empire at the time. All right. Right now we use the dollar. Back then they used the denarius. Rome 2.0. All right. After bills, after rent, you're pretty much left with nothing. And then you got to wait till the next time you're paid, which is usually bi-weekly. And I believe they have a term. I remember we were going into this maybe a few years ago, but they have a term called Alice. And this is basically what you're seeing. Yeah, it stands for asset limited, income constrained, and employed. This segment of the population earns above the federal poverty level, but not enough to afford a basic household budget in their specific area. So a lot of these women, they're definitely examples of this, because a lot of them earn degrees in fields that don't make that much money. So they've gotten jobs, but it's not enough to hold up in their lifestyle. They're one emergency away. So these women gonna have to swallow up their pride at some point, and they're gonna have to get with a man. And guess what? You're not gonna get in. The men are not gonna just allow you, all right, to pair up with them, and then you're gonna still keep the same modern Western women mentality either. When you feel like you ain't gonna do nothing, you just gonna no. You have to go back to being a traditional woman. If you don't meet that standard, then you're gonna be asked out. All right. So, hey, Babylon is done, man. Stick a fork in her. She's finished. And right now we're just in the birth pain stage, where there's only going to increase from here on out. All right, so you brothers stay locked in. You sisters, y'all do what y'all supposed to do. Stay prayed up. Keep your faith steadfast unto the end. And the Lord, He's gonna take it, like the scripture saying, Psalms 55. Cast your burden upon the Lord, and He will sustain thee. So basically, this is meant for the wicked of our people to have to face and deal with. All right, you're going to be taken care of as long as you continue doing the right thing. So anyway, with that, call Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Shalom.